Okay, hey, how you doing? My name is Nate. For those who know me and those who don't, I ask the Lord blesses my tongue as I tell you guys these. All right, this one was January 30th, 2018, and it says, "I see a door above an ancient. I see a door. Now above this ancient door, something is written. I'm not completely sure of everything. Now the door is metal with what may be some type of markings on it. There's 5 words or 5 letters written above the door. And these words are guarding it because when I seen this door, it was so old and so ancient. Now above this door was something was written. It was almost as if what was written on the door was protecting the door or guarding the door or something like that. I'm not sure, but above the door, it was 5 words or 5 letters total. Now, I only remember 2 of those. Now, the ones that I do remember was TSAR, dash, T dash SAR or TSAR. And then next to that was V Ward. Now, I started doing some looking up and trying to figure out what that was. And what I found out, is what they call Russia, is the Russian Empire, which actually Putin is over now. V Ward was versus. V water, the V stood for versus. And the ward wasn't ward, it was water. WARDA. So it was water or ward ha. WARHA, which is what I found when I looked it up, and it meant India. So I'm assuming that this is what the Lord was trying to tell me. So it was the Russian Empire versus India, is what I believed it to be. But I could be wrong, but that's what I seen, and when I looked it up, that's what I found. All right, I'm going to the next one. This is January 30th, 2018. It says, I see something like in ancient days. Huge brick stacked, in a color, almost like the color of the desert sand, which is tan. It was a whole bunch of huge bricks, and I'm not sure how they stacked those bricks like that, but it was the color of tan, like the color of the desert, but it was like a tan color. Now I think I may have been in the desert, and this ancient place is made of brick. I watch as the bricks begin to fall because of an earthquake. I'm not in Texas, I know that, and I know there's an earthquake. So when the earth starts to quake, the bricks start to fall. So with this one, I guess there start being a bunch of earthquakes. So there already have been a bunch of earthquakes or whatnot. And the Lord was showing me this. I believe I was in a desert because all I seen was those 10 huge freaking bricks. Huge bricks stacked on top of each other. It was almost like they were forming like a little mountain or something, or I don't know how to describe it. But I seen the earthquake and the bricks started to fall. All right, this is January 31st, 2018. I remember seeing a clock. Around the time of 11:30, and I felt and I knew for a fact that the time had been set back or gone. The time had been set back or gone forward. And the reason why I say this is because even when I was awake or whatnot, I kept feeling the time was set back. Like the time was set back. And I kept thinking it was 11, like, I thought it was another time, but I kept feeling like it was a time set back, like it's been rewind or something. I don't know why, but I feel like the time had been set back to 11:30. Okay, the next one is February 1st, 2018. This was basically about me and the Lord. Now I'm at work and I'm trying to be friendly. Everyone's ignoring me and acting as if I don't exist. I speak to the people, they don't notice me, or they ignore me and walk past me. I go to the cafe area and I see 2 black ladies and they speak to me. So when I speak to them, I tell them about me being locked out of my office. They say something to me about getting a key. Now I felt like I already had the key. So I tell the lady that I don't really care because I don't want to work anyway. She says something to me and then walks away and she leaves. I say something about I see someone getting promoted or moving to another office. Now, now this lady's moving a tall plant that she has in her arms. I say hello, she ignores me. I say hello again and she ignores me. So every time I say hello, she ignores me every time I say hello. So I feel I'm not being considered at all. And I feel like I'm not being considered at all. And all the work I've done was and is taken for granted. So to my left, I see a supervisor. He walks past the desk that I'm sitting at. No, I'm sorry. So I see a supervisor at his desk and he's sitting down. He ignores me. He doesn't even notice me. So I feel I'm unappreciated and I walk away. So I stand at the end of the hall and I think I don't need to be here. So I go upstairs. And I think I don't need to be here. I don't need to be here. I work upstairs. I can leave. So I walk upstairs to the second floor and I'm relieved. I walk to my workstation and that's all I see. Now the reason this was that the Lord was showing me is because basically when I was working at the other job at General Motors, I felt unappreciated completely. They kept adding assignments on to me, adding so many assignments on to me, and I was praying to the Lord about it, and I told him, I don't want to be there. I hate being there. I feel unappreciated. I was promoted from a position, not even a month after I got there. I was promoted from that position because I worked faster and better than the other people who were there, who had been there before I even got there. And because of that, I was promoted to another position. They let one of the people go because I was better than them. Now, once I was promoted to another position, they realized that I was fast at what I did and I picked up things quickly. So they created a position for me. I did that. So they decided, because the position that I was promoted from, that the person that was working there, the lady, she was so slow and everything was always behind. So what they did is they wanted me to go back and help her. So that's what I did while I was still doing leases and APRs as well. So I went back and did imaging, data entry for the imaging. So they put me back working with her. And while I was still doing leases and APRs. So I did that. And then, I told them, I said, I'm doing work for two different departments, and they're not doing nothing. So I get bored. I do what I want to do. I'll listen to videos on my phone or whatever, or I just watch a video. Mainly not really watching the video, just listen to videos on my phone and the Bible and the news. So one day the supervisor came to me. He was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to, you can help the contract support queue as well." I was like, "Oh, okay, well, let's go ahead and try it out." So they trained me on it for one day, which I picked it up quickly, and I started doing that. After a while, I realized I was doing majority of their work, and I asked for a raise, and he kept giving excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. And he assumed because I was an African American that I just wasn't that smart. No, he just wasn't that smart. So he came to me one day. He was like, "Oh, by the way, you don't have to do the leases and the APRs anymore. Just do the imaging data entry and do the data entry for the contract support, and help them out." So like I told him, I went to him multiple times and I told him, "Yo, I'm doing all the work." And he tried to play this little dumb game on me, like I didn't know what was going on. And I told him, "Look, I sit in." He was like, "Well, how do you know they're not doing it?" "Because I sit, and when I come in, I key in everything that's there. So I know for a fact that they're not doing their work. Because if I leave from it, and I check back in throughout the day, it's still there. So I know for a fact they're not doing their work. I key in everything that I see in a separate notepad. I know they were not doing their work." So he couldn't sit there and tell me something that I know wasn't true. But he tried to, and I told him, "Hey, this is what I see, and this is what I do every morning when I come in." And I told him, "You have me helping somebody else on a position that I was promoted from. This person does not work because I do the work." that contract support people, they choose not to work because I do the work. So if I would ask him for a raise, it was, oh, let me see what I can do, and I'll get back to you. He would never get back to me. So I kept going back and forth. So after a while, I decided I wasn't going to work no more. They can do it. It can pile up. It can do whatever they want to do. I didn't care because you keep adding things on to me. But you have a whole team, that are supposed to be doing that work. But if I get on there 1 hour, I'm through. I finished everything. Everything that a whole team of them could not do. And I did it on my own. Now, I was helping another lady in the contract support queue as well. And not the contract support queue, but the imaging queue. And she would slow down, or she just would do whatever she wanted to do when she wanted to do it. She was a nice lady, real sweet or whatnot. But in a way, she took advantage as well. Because she knew that I was faster than her, so I would go in, I would clear it out. And then I got to the point I got tired of doing her work for her as well. So what I would do was I would do a few, and I would leave it there to see if she was going to do the work. And I would time her. I would see what was there, and then I would time her. And she started realizing, oh, well, this is going to be there. So one day she came to me, and I told her, I said, I got too much on me. And I appreciate if you help. Can you do this? Can you do that or whatnot? She was like, yeah, you don't have to do it when you're here. If I'm here, you don't have to do it. So I stopped doing it, and she started getting up. Can somebody help me? Can somebody help me? And I couldn't understand that because if I got in there, I had to finish in an hour. Everything finished in an hour. It could be 200, 300, 400, 500 in there. I finished it in 1 hour. So I got tired, and I kept praying to the Lord. I said, I need you to help me. So he was basically telling me on this one, I see what you're going through. I see it. But you don't have to be there. You have the keys. You have the keys. You don't even work there anyway. So the Lord was basically telling me, hey, you don't even work there anyway. You're just there. I know they're not treating you like they're supposed to treat you. I know you're being taken for granted. I know that they're basically ignoring you and walking over you. But you don't have to be there. You work upstairs. Basically, he was saying I work for him. And he told me that I have the keys to not be there. I have a choice. It's my choice. I don't need to be there. So that's what the Lord was basically telling me. So this video is 12 minutes and 37 seconds and counting. So I'm going to end this one and go to the next because it keeps going and going. And you guys are going to be so amazed when I start telling you these things and things start coming to pass. And, well, stuff has already come to pass, but regarding me, the situations. So I'm headed to the next. I don't want too long videos.